Hey guys, how's it going? This is Chris. This is my first video back in a while, and I just wanted to show you 3 techniques in Lightroom and Photoshop to make your photos pop a little bit more. So the first one is using the whites tab, the white slider in Lightroom. So I'm going to go ahead and reset this photo. If you're not familiar with Lightroom, you might want to watch a video on how to use Lightroom, but we have this photo here, and the first thing I'm going to do, typically do this on all my photos, is lower the highlights, increase the shadows, increase the exposure because this one was shot a little bit too dark, and then I'm going to hit Alt and click on the white and just bring it up to where I can see if I slide this left or right. So those dots are going to be what is true white in the photo. Leave it there, and you can do the same thing with black. Get a good black point, and then increase the clarity, vibrance, and I like to make my photos a little bit warmer, so I'm going to increase the warm slider. And that's it for Lightroom. Now we're going to move on to Photoshop. Now if you have the Adobe Creative Suite, what you're going to do is right click and say Edit, Edit in Adobe Photoshop. Now that is going to open it in Photoshop. Once we're in Photoshop, you can see up here we have the raw file. And the first thing I'm going to do is duplicate my layer and make it a smart object, because that way we're not actually touching the original image. And now I'm going to hit my layer adjustments, which is this button here, and choose hue and saturation. Now this is a great trick. Do you see all these greens in this photo? There's green here, green here. It's really hard to bring those out in Lightroom without oversaturating the entire photo, so we just want to increase those greens. Well, now that we have our hue and saturation adjustment layer up, we can choose Alt and hover just underneath the little symbol here until we get this and click. Now this layer will only be affecting the layer below it. It's great if you have multiple layers, or if you're just doing something on a particular part of the image. It's something that I like to do. So now we're going to come over here and choose Master, and we're going to scroll down to Greens. You'll notice that on the color hue slider here, you can see which part of our image is affected. And just to show you, I'm going to make it a really crazy color. And so now we can see just the greens in this image, greens and a little bit of yellow, is affected. So let's go ahead and zero that back out. So we're going to choose greens, increase the saturation, slide this over, increase it a little more, back out of the yellows. And just do this until you're kind of happy with the way it's turned out. And now we can see the difference. Just subtle. It's great if you have a lot of green moss or green leaves, anything green that you want to pop out. You can do the same with other colors also. Now the last thing that we're going to do is choose curves, and we're going to give this image a little bit more color. This is totally up to you on how you want to do it, but the first thing I like to do is click Alt and click on Auto, and then do Find Dark and Light Colors, OK, and then click on your gray choice, which is the middle eyedropper, and find a part of the image that's not white, it's almost an off-white, and then click. And that will give you a white balance adjustment that is more like the original, what you originally saw. And then the last thing that I like to do on a simple adjustment, sorry, I know I said 3, but you're going to get 4, is come down here to your adjustment layers and choose Gradient Map, and then choose Soft Light, and then in this little gear wheel you'll load Photographic Toning. I already have it loaded, so I don't have to select it. If you actually select it, it's not going to delete any of your other photos, just FYI. I mean, any of your other gradients, FYI. So now, come through here and just kind of play around and see which one looks the best. I kind of like the Selenium 2, so I'm going to hit OK. And then we can lighten the effect a little bit. Maybe come to curves and just give it a little bit of an S curve. So we really want to focus on that water, so kind of brighten the water a little bit. And that's it. Let's see the before and after. Before is kind of dull, and that's right out of Lightroom. And after, you can see a lot more color, a lot more brightness. So I hope you enjoyed. I know this was a quick video, but stay tuned for more. Subscribe. Thanks a lot.